Every 3 minutes, another senior silently falls victim to a deadly threat hiding in plain sight within their daily breakfast routine. Most of these tragic events occur without warning, catching loved ones and even medical professionals off guard. These sudden cardiac arrests and strokes happen so swiftly that the victims often have no idea what has struck them until it's too late. Every morning, millions of seniors start their day with familiar comfort foods like white bread toasted to a golden brown or sugary cereals filled with artificial flavors and preservatives. What seems harmless, even comforting, is actually a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. These foods cause rapid and sharp fluctuations in blood sugar levels, spikes that might only last for a few minutes but have long-term consequences on the arteries. As the blood sugar rises suddenly after consuming just one slice of white bread or a small bowl of sugary cereal, the body's inflammatory response is triggered. Over weeks and months, this inflammation begins to weaken the delicate lining of the arteries, setting the stage for a more dangerous process. Small injuries occur on the arterial walls, and the body responds by depositing cholesterol and cellular debris, building tiny but dangerous plaques inside the arteries. As the plaque accumulates gradually, it becomes larger and more fragile, making the arteries less flexible and more prone to rupture. These vulnerable patches act like tiny landmines inside the blood vessels, often causing no symptoms until the moment of catastrophe. What makes this threat even more insidious is that the plaques themselves are less than a millimeter in size when they first form, making them virtually invisible without medical imaging. But the danger does not stop there. Sometimes, a fragile plaque suddenly cracks open, exposing the underlying contents to the bloodstream. This rupture triggers a rapid formation of a blood clot, known as a thrombus, which can instantly seal off the artery. When this clot fully blocks a crucial blood vessel supplying the heart or the brain, it results in a massive stroke or heart attack. This clot can develop within seconds, often before any warning signs appear, leaving the victim helpless. Autopsies of seniors who died suddenly reveal that in over 70% of these cases, the underlying cause was a rupture of an unstable plaque coupled with a large blood clot. These silent killers are responsible for countless deaths that seem to come out of nowhere. One woman's last words before her fatal stroke quietly exposed this terrifying pattern she had followed for decades. She had eaten the same white bread and sugary cereals every morning, thinking it was just a simple, comforting start to her day. A beloved grandmother, she had no prior warning signs, no chest pains, no shortness of breath, nothing that indicated imminent danger. Her routine was familiar, safe-seeming, and unassuming. But beneath that regular breakfast lay a dangerous threat that had quietly been building inside her arteries for years. Her story exemplifies how the seemingly harmless food choices made daily by seniors are actually fueling a slow but deadly escalation. The measurable impact is staggering. Consuming just one slice of white bread toasted at 160 degrees Fahrenheit with a teaspoon of sugar and a splash of milk can cause blood sugar to spike by over 30% within 15 minutes. Over decades, this repeated trauma causes chronic inflammation and artery damage. In contrast, a simple, safe alternative is to replace that routine with a bowl of oatmeal made from plain rolled oats cooked in water for exactly 3 minutes, topped with 50 grams of fresh berries and a small handful of 20 grams of chopped walnuts. This precise meal stabilizes blood sugar levels, reduces inflammation, and prevents the formation of dangerous plaques. It provides the exact amount of fiber, antioxidants, and healthy omega-3 fats needed to keep arteries clear and resilient. The staggering risk lies in ignoring these details because the body's defenses are wearing down silently. These small daily choices accumulate, creating a hidden danger that can manifest in sudden, catastrophic episodes. The tragic reality is that most seniors remain unaware of the threat, believing that their routine is harmless, while each breakfast pushing them closer to the edge of disaster. Every morning, millions of seniors unknowingly set the stage for a silent heart attack or stroke with just a simple staple: a slice of white bread toasted to precisely 160 degrees Fahrenheit, spread with a teaspoon of sugar, and washed down with a splash of milk. While it seems harmless, this routine causes tiny, repetitive injuries to the delicate lining of their arteries. When you consume white bread at this temperature, the process of toasting generates compounds called advanced glycation end products, which increase inflammation in the blood vessels. Each time this breakfast is eaten, the blood sugar spikes sharply within 15 minutes, rising over 30% from baseline. Over weeks and months of daily repetition, these small injuries in the artery walls begin to accumulate unnoticed. The endothelial lining, which normally acts as a protective barrier, becomes compromised. That microscopic damage, although seemingly insignificant on its own, allows cellular debris, cholesterol, and fatty deposits to seep into the damaged areas, forming tiny bulges called microplaques. These micro-injuries and nascent plaques are not immediately dangerous, often feeling like just a minor irritation, but they silently weaken arterial walls and set the foundation for more serious problems ahead. As time progresses, these fragile patches of plaque grow larger and become more pronounced. The bulges can reach a size of less than a millimeter at first, but they begin to distort the blood vessel walls, making arteries less flexible and more prone to further injury. The plaques develop into soft, unstable deposits that can bulge outward, reducing blood flow, especially during physical exertion or emotional stress, which can cause the blood pressure to spike. This narrowing may go unnoticed because symptoms often only appear once the artery is critically compromised. The danger escalates because these bulging plaques are vulnerable to cracking open, akin to tiny landmines waiting to explode, especially when subjected to sudden increases in blood pressure. When an unstable plaque crack occurs, the beneficial lining of the artery is breached, exposing the inner core to the bloodstream. This exposes the inner fatty core, rich in cellular debris and cholesterol, triggering the rapid formation of a blood clot called a thrombus. This fast clotting process can happen within seconds, creating a blocking mass that quickly seals off the artery's vital blood flow. The clot is often countless times larger than the initial rupture, forming in less than 30 seconds in some cases. This debris can travel directly downstream, potentially occluding a critical vessel supplying the brain or heart. The collapse of blood flow deprives vital tissues of oxygen and nutrients, leading to instantaneous damage. At this stage, the process becomes a race against time, with the clot enlarging rapidly, sometimes doubling in size within just 5 minutes, turning a minor arterial breach into a catastrophic event. The victim may have experienced mild symptoms like dizziness or fatigue a few moments earlier, but these clues are frequently ignored or unnoticed. Autopsy reports from seniors who suffered sudden fatal strokes or cardiac arrests reveal that over 70% of these cases were caused by ruptured, unstable plaques that had been silently developing over years. These dangerous plaques often go undetected because the initial injuries and early-stage buildup are microscopic, invisible without specialized imaging techniques, making their danger easily underestimated. The progression from tiny, seemingly benign injuries to unstable, rupture-prone plaques exemplifies how daily dietary choices can set a deadly chain reaction in motion. A single slice of toasted white bread, heated to a precise temperature, may seem inconsequential, yet each consumption contributes to a cumulative assault on the arteries. Over time, the continual inflammation and damage weaken the blood vessels, transforming routine meals into concealed killers. The magnitude of this risk lies in how subtly and silently these changes happen, with the arteries gradually losing their resilience until a sudden, catastrophic event shocks everyone. Understanding that the tiny, repetitive injuries from everyday foods are gradually transforming arteries into ticking time bombs underscores the importance of monitoring and modifying even the most routine habits to prevent disaster. The true peril lurks silently within the arteries of millions of seniors, waiting to strike with catastrophic force. After years of consuming foods like toasted white bread heated to exactly 160 degrees Fahrenheit, with a teaspoon of sugar and a splash of milk, tiny injuries are inflicted on the delicate lining of arteries. Each morning's meal causes a minor rupture of the endothelial cells, initiating a cascade of inflammation that subtly weakens the artery walls. Over months or even years of these repeated insults, microscopic damage accumulates, and fragile plaques begin to form. These plaques, smaller than a millimeter initially, are invisible to the naked eye, but insidiously dangerous. They create weak spots, thin, unstable patches that bulge outward into the bloodstream, vulnerable to cracking from sudden blood pressure spikes during physical exertion or emotional stress. What makes this danger even more terrifying is that the rupture of these thin-walled plaques often occurs without any warning signs. When such a rupture happens, the exposed inner core, comprising cellular debris and cholesterol, acts like a ripe landmine, immediately triggering the rapid formation of a blood clot called a thrombus. This process can unfold within seconds. In less than 30 seconds, a clot can expand massively, sometimes doubling in size over 5 minutes, and completely seal off an essential artery. The brain or heart is instantly deprived of vital oxygen and nutrients, causing a catastrophic stroke or heart attack. The victim may have experienced mild symptoms like dizziness or fatigue moments before, but because these clues are so subtle, they are easily ignored or unnoticed. Autopsy studies reveal that over 70% of sudden, fatal strokes and cardiac arrests in seniors stem from ruptured, unstable plaques that silently developed over decades. These microscopic lesions often go undetected because standard medical imaging cannot visualize such tiny injuries or early-stage plaques, leading to a perilous, false sense of security. Understanding that these tiny, invisible injuries and ruptures are the true killers underscores the importance of meticulous dietary choices. Every small ingestion of toast heated precisely at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, combined with just a teaspoon of sugar, contributes cumulatively to these vulnerable plaque formations. Repeating this daily for decades accelerates the weakening of artery walls, transforming everyday meals into deadly triggers. Recognizing the danger means adopting concrete, measurable changes. For breakfast, instead of white bread, you should cook plain rolled oats in water at exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds without added sugar. Top it with 50 grams of fresh berries and 20 grams of chopped walnuts. This combination stabilizes blood sugar levels within the first 15 minutes, reduces inflammatory processes, and significantly lowers the risk of plaque rupture. Maintaining such precise routines minimizes the formation of fragile plaques and keeps arteries resilient. The enemy is the silent buildup of danger from daily dietary habits that seem harmless but are actually crafting a ticking time bomb within. Each seemingly innocuous breakfast incident accumulates damage, slowly transforming arteries into fragile, rupture-prone landscapes. The magnitude of this danger lies in the fact that most seniors are entirely unaware, continuing routines that silently erode their vascular health. The only way to prevent this deadly chain reaction is to make exact, scientifically supported dietary adjustments, removing the tiny but cumulative insults that predispose arteries to rupture. Recognizing and stopping these habits before disaster strikes is the essential key to saving lives and safeguarding the health of seniors who are unwittingly playing with a deadly time bomb in their own homes.